Hey everyone, it's Laura here from makingcardswithsun.com, and in today's video I am sharing a cute and playful card using lawn foam products, and I'm also sharing some tips on how to match the inside of your card with the outside of it. Today's video is also part of a special celebration for my friend Laurel Beard, celebrating the 100 Lawnscaping Challenge. I'm very happy to be their special party guest, and since Laurel's daughter is turning 2 today, the theme of this challenge is birthdays. So let's get started with my card. Today I'm starting out with a piece of white cardstock that measures 4¼ of an inch by 5½, and I'm going to be using the Peekaboo die cut from Pretty Pink Posh. Going to start out by die cutting that die or shape in the center of my paper. Then once I run it through my Big Shot machine, I'm going to replace that die, and I'm going to die cut it a few more times to create a whole backgrounds. So then after I die cut that shape, I'm going to use some Post-its as a mask, because I'm going to cover up the white part of the cardstock, because I will be coloring the Peekaboo die using some distress ink. So I'm using some squeezed lemonade distress ink to create yellow peekaboos, or just to color the Peekaboo die. And then I'm just going to reuse that mask over and over again, so I don't have to use a ton of Post-its. So here I'm just blending in that color again. Really like this yellow color. So now I am going to cut that little die so I can open those little pieces. So it's kind of like a window card, because you can close it if you would like to put it in an envelope, or if you would like to send it over to someone. So now I'm just going to open those little windows. And now I'm going to use Tumbled Glass Distress ink to create a sky. Just going to blend in that color onto a standard size note card that I cut out of some Nina white cardstock using a mini ink blending tool from Tim Holtz. Just really like this one. And now we'll be using the Let's Polka paper pad from Lawn Fawn. Really love this paper pad. So many basic and cute patterns are included in this paper pad. Going to use the Grassy Border die from Lawn Fawn to create some grass. And then I'm just going to adhere that on my card, but first I'm going to line that up with that Peekaboo frame. So I'm using my Tombow Mono adhesive to adhere that grassy border. And this is one of my favorite Lawn Fawn stamp sets. This is called the Monster Mash stamp set. Going to stamp one of those monsters onto some Simon Says Stamp white ultra heavyweight cardstock using Memento Tuxedo black ink. So I'm just going to stamp that, and now I'm going to do some simple Copic coloring. First I'm adding a base using RV000, and then I'm going to add some shading using RV11. So I'm only using 2 colors. Really love this combination of Copic colors. It's just like the perfect pink combination. So now I'm blending those 2 pinks together using the lightest color again. And then I will be adding some yellow touches using Y13 as a base, and then Y19 as, to add some shading. And I'm going to blend that together using the lightest color again. So, and now I am going to adhere some acetate behind the main piece of the card. And by the way, I die cut that little monster using the coordinating die cuts from the Monster Mash stamp set from Lawn Fawn. So I'm going to adhere that monster onto my card. And then over here I have a piece of fun foam, because I will be creating another sequin shaker. Going to cut a hole in the middle so I have a frame that I can use as a base for my shaker. I'm going to adhere that piece of fun foam using multi-medium matte. This is just a really strong adhesive, and it works really well with the fun foam. Just going to apply it with my finger, but you could also use a paintbrush if you would like to. So after I apply that paint, that glue, I'm going to adhere it onto my card. And here I am creating a banner, a sentiment banner, using the same Monster Mash stamp set, some vellum and Versamark ink. And I'm going to sprinkle on some embossing powder on there. This is white opaque, bright white embossing powder, I think, from Wow. So after I heat emboss that greeting, I'm going to adhere it onto my card. I'm just adding a couple of glossy accents, or a couple of tiny dots of glossy accents behind those white letters. And then I'm going to adhere that banner, I'm going to adhere that banner onto the card, and I'm going to fold over those edges, and I will be adhering these using my Tomo Mono adhesive. So I'm just going to fold them over. And then I am going to fill up my sequin shaker. I am using some beads from Pretty Pink Posh and then some of the sequins from the Springtime Mix. And I'm also using some of the 4mm Pretty Pink Posh sequins. These are all linked in my video description, by the way. So now I'm going to adhere the other piece of the fun foam, or the other side of it, using multimedia matte again, and then I can just place that main piece of my card on top of the fun foam, and then the sequin shaker is all finished. As I mentioned before, I will be sharing some tips on how to decorate the inside of your card. Here I am using the Milo's ABC stamp set from Lawn Fawn. Going to be using that to stamp my own happy birthday greeting. You could even stamp like happy birthday, Laurel, or something like that. So you could really customize it. And then I'm going to stamp a couple of those hearts from the same Monster Mash stamp set using Squeeze Lemonade Distress ink. So I recommend using a color that you used on the outside of your card so it matches perfectly. So if you would like to stamp, or if you use pink distress ink on the outside of your card, it would look really cute if you would use like a pink ink on the inside of your card as well. So that finishes up the card for this video. So you can see the sequin shaker, and then on the inside it says happy birthday. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!